All right, let's go ahead and get started. Hi everyone, I am Spencer Brown. I am a Marketing Support Analyst for Dickinson and Associates, and I'd like to welcome you all to our webinar on SAP HANA Cloud Platform, Extend, Build, and Integrate on the Cloud. First today you'll be hearing from Rob Jerome, our VP of Innovation and Technology, and then from Manager Olavo Figueiredo. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, you can submit them through the Q&A dialog box. We will answer some of those questions at the end and then follow up directly for any questions we don't cover during the webinar. Now, I will hand this off to Rob Jerome.
Thanks, Spencer. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today. As Spencer said, today our topic is SAP HANA Cloud Platform, which recently has been rebranded as the SAP Cloud Platform. So you'll probably hear those terms interchanged today. The title of our webinar, the subject today, is really Extend, Build, and Integrate on the Cloud. And the reason why we've got that theme is because HANA Cloud Platform has a variety of purposes. We can build applications, we can extend applications, and integrate systems, SAP and non-SAP, on the cloud. And we want to carry those themes today. Go ahead, Spencer, next slide. So we're going to cover a lot today. That's the first thing I want to make sure everybody's prepared for, which is exciting. When we were going through preparing for this webinar, we said, what do we need to show? And we came up with really 4 main things that we wanted to discuss today. First is really an overview. So what is the SAP Cloud Platform or SAP HANA Cloud Platform? What is it used for? How is it packaged? We're going to start with that. Then we're going to show you basically 3 demos. And the reason we're showing 3 demos is we want to carry the 3 themes that I mentioned when we kicked off the webinar. The first is application development. So a simple HTML5 application built on HANA Cloud Platform. It's important that we show that today because, remember, this is HANA Cloud Platform is intended for SAP systems and non-SAP systems as well. Enhancing the user experience. That would be our second demo, rapid prototyping. So one of the real advantages of the HANA Cloud Platform is that not only can we build applications and have a development platform for anything basically that we want to build or integrate, but we actually have the ability in this platform to build rapid prototypes. So the solution comes with the ability to build out a prototype. So we're actually going to build a prototype live today so you can see how easy it is to do so. And then finally, we're going to talk about some additional capabilities, and our third demo is going to be, we call it putting it all together with Ship Select. Ship Select is an SAP certified application that Dickinson and Associates has built on the SAP HANA Cloud Platform. So we want to do a little bit of conceptual analysis today and demonstration, but then we want to show you, hey, here's something that's actually been built and deployed on the SAP HANA Cloud Platform. And then we're going to move into questions and answers. Next slide, please. So on the phone today, myself, Rob Jerome. Everybody calls me RJ, but my role at Dickinson is to manage what we call our innovation and technology line of business. So anything related to SAP database data management, HANA Cloud Platform falls within that, analytics, and application development. We've got 3 lines of business here at Dickinson, primarily. The innovation and technology practice, which I lead, our traditional ERP and S/4HANA practice, and then our S/4HANA Cloud practice, which is SAP's flagship cloud-based ERP. And we're also going to be hearing from Olavo. Olavo manages our HCP team. So Dickinson and Associates has a dedicated team, falls under innovation and technology, and that team is tasked with building out applications on HANA Cloud Platform. They're responsible for any integration we do among SAP systems, non-SAP systems, and they work out of our Chicago office and our Cincinnati office. So very quickly, Dickinson and Associates, for those of you who have attended our webinars in the past, you probably have a little bit of our background information. We have some customers on the call today, which I'm really happy to see. And we have some new folks, but who's Dickinson? Dickinson is an SAP consulting firm and authorized reseller of SAP software. We've been in business for about 19 years, and all we do is SAP. So if you look at our focus, we're focused on delivery of quality SAP Business Suite, analytics, cloud solutions, and we've deployed across the United States, Europe, and Asia. We've got about 140 consultants. We're a mid-sized consulting firm, about a $45 million organization. And our tagline really, as we skip down to the bottom, is business people who know SAP. If you've worked with Dickinson, you know that most of our people come from industry. I, for example, started on the customer side way back when at Black & Decker in their late 90s implementation of SAP. You'll find that most of our leadership and, frankly, our consulting base come from industry. So we're business people first and SAP people second. Dickinson has offices in Chicago. We're headquartered downtown. We've got satellite offices in New York, Scottsdale, Arizona, and Cincinnati. We also have a small office in Annapolis, Maryland. Next slide, please. Okay, I have to pitch our next webinar, which is on the Business Objects Cloud, coming up on February 28th. That's an important topic because Business Objects Cloud runs on the SAP HANA Cloud platform. So as we've been presenting on these newer technologies within SAP, one of the themes that we've been following or enforcing is that all of these applications run on a single common platform. So when we talk about, excuse me, Business Objects Cloud, the new cloud-based, subscription-based analytics offering from SAP, it too runs on the HANA Cloud platform. And all of our webinars and videos can be found on our YouTube site. So we've included a link, or you can just go to YouTube and search for Dickinson and Associates. So now I'm going to, next slide please. Now I'm going to hand this over to Alavo, who's going to run the rest of the webinar, and I look forward to answering any of your questions at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Robert. Can you hear me okay?
Hear you just fine.
Great. So for the first part of this presentation, we'll really give an overview of not just SAP Cloud Platform, but also cloud technology in general. And then, as Rob mentioned, we'll also get into some of the more popular use cases for the platform, along with some quick demos. So before we get into the specifics of the SAP Cloud Platform, I really think it's worth kind of taking a step and putting things into perspective based into some of the recent technology trends we've been witnessing, and really how these trends are driving what we call the cloud shift, right? So more and more companies shifting their resources from on-premise systems to the cloud. And the first kind of trend that we've been witnessing is big data, right? We've all heard of big data. If you think about your individual digital footprint, you know, where 10 years ago, maybe you just had an email account. Now we all have Facebook, Twitter, Google, right? If you think about the commercial side, we now have a ton of customer demographic data, point of sale data. With the Internet of Things, we now have device data, so we know how your machines are running and we know what's in your fridge. So with all of that data becoming more and more easily available, it's really important to have a platform that can integrate all these different data sources so that we can analyze them for opportunities. Which brings me to my second point, which is a higher demand for analytics. So now that we have all this data, what do we do with it? How can we analyze this to gain insights into new opportunities or to identify bottlenecks in our business process, right? How can we get a 360-degree view of our customers, for example? So companies are more and more looking for this analytics capability in order to kind of give them a competitive advantage, and they really need a platform that can support that. We're also seeing faster decision cycles. So companies need to react faster and faster to changing market conditions. Amazon, who's really a market disruptor, is a great example of this. When you shop at Amazon, you have real-time access to inventory and product information on thousands of items, right? And when you purchase an item, it shows up on your doorstep 2 days later. So of course, there's a robust supply chain network that enables that, but there's also an underlying technology platform that really speeds up those processes. So when you look at your business, how do you make sure, for example, that when your customer orders an item, that they're getting it as quickly as possible? Because what we're seeing is that customers no longer have the patience to wait multiple days, exchange emails and phone calls before they even get an order confirmation. So we need to do things quicker. In order to do that, we need to integrate our systems to accommodate those newer expectations. Another trend we're seeing is user empowerment. So users are getting more and more accustomed to reliable, responsive, and intuitive applications. especially with smartphones, users have a lot of power at their fingertips. So as a business, how do we make sure that our customers, suppliers, employees have that same level of user experience when interacting with us? And then the last 2 points really go hand in hand from an infrastructure perspective. The first of which is we have increasingly more reliable and secure internet networks. So, we almost take internet connectivity for granted nowadays. It's everywhere. It's always available. So what this really does is reduce the risk of having your hardware off-site in a secure data center versus in a closet, let's say, somewhere in your IT department, right? And from a cost perspective, we're also seeing more gains from leveraging economies of scale. Now, this isn't a new concept. We've seen this in manufacturing and distribution for decades, but it is a newer concept when it comes to infrastructure. With a shared cloud environment, if you compare having to manage hundreds of servers versus managing just a handful on-premise, if you think about it, the cost per server is a lot cheaper if you manage 100 of them versus just a couple, because you can share resources and combine tasks. So, these are some of the trends we haven't seen in the industry and that are behind what we call this cloud shift, which according to Gartner will affect more than $1 trillion of IT spending by 2020. So what is the SAP Cloud Platform and how does it kind of fit into this? Well, very well, actually. So in a simple definition, the SAP Cloud Platform is an open platform as a service. This means that not only do you get the infrastructure hosted by SAP in one of their world-class data centers, but you also have access to a variety of services as part of this platform. So, and you can kind of see a lot of them on that screen here, at least some of the more important ones. And so depending on what scenario you're trying to accomplish on the cloud, you can pick and choose a combination of these different services in order to meet those requirements. And you can purchase these services, either as part of a larger package or a la carte, so individually, depending on your specific requirements. So let's say, for example, that you're looking to, provide an analytics platform to your organization on the cloud. So you may choose to start with the integration service, which will allow you to get data from multiple different sources, SAP or non-SAP. And then you can use the data and storage service to do some of that data transformation and data modeling that really kind of serve up the data to the third service, which would be analytics. That's your reporting layers, right? So whether you're doing pre-built reports or your ad hoc reporting, the cloud platform gives you that analytics service in order to, be able to bring it all together and display that data to your users. So all of these services could probably get their own dedicated webinar, but what we'll try to do today is just give you a brief overview on each and then focus on some of the ones that we see more often that are more popular. Now, before we go any further, I did want to dispel some of the myths about the cloud that we often hear. So, and the most prominent one really is that it's not secure. This is not true. And in reality, what we see is that the security vulnerabilities of the cloud are mainly faced by traditional on-premise solutions. With the added benefit there that on the cloud, your organization is not solely responsible for managing that risk. So especially when you have a partner company like SAP with a very strong service agreement in place, and you have some of the services that come with SAP Cloud Platform that have to do with security, which we'll touch on later in this webinar. With that combination, you can quickly see that it's not really any less secure than your on-premise environment. We also hear that the SAP Cloud Platform is only for existing customers, and this is definitely not true. While the platform is very well suited for extending SAP solutions, we can also build standalone solutions on the SAP Cloud Platform that extend other non-SAP ERP solutions. The example that we just mentioned about integrating your data, modeling it on the cloud, serving that up on your analytics platform, that can be done with non-SAP data, and there's a lot of other use cases for non-SAP customers. We also see that, some people say that where some customers have invested a lot in their on-premise systems and they think that perhaps there's no value in going to the cloud. This is also not true. In fact, the SAP Cloud Platform, as we'll get into momentarily, it fits very well alongside on-premise systems as a hybrid model. So I'll be the first to tell you, not everything should go on the cloud. Some things do make sense to go on the cloud. It's really about having that right mixture that gets you the best value. So you got to, take a look at your existing systems and see which items make sense to be on the cloud from a business perspective, as well as from a cost perspective. And then you also need to consider development, maintenance, governance. So it's really about that, having that balance there. And then finally, we're also here that, moving to the cloud is all about saving money on infrastructure. That's also not true. Like we kind of mentioned before, and you'll see today, there's a lot of benefits of going to the cloud. You get that agility in application development. You get all of those services available to you. You get pre-built answers. There's a lot of functionality there. So it's not all about just, handing over your infrastructure maintenance to someone else and saving money there. In fact, according to a Gartner survey last year, only 14% of CIOs that moved into the cloud consider cost saving as the main reason for so. So what are the benefits of going into the cloud? First one, which is probably the most popular among CIOs, is that you get that peace of mind, right? You don't have to maintain the hardware. The hardware is maintained by SAP, in their state-of-the-art data centers. So you don't have to worry about that, and you also don't have to worry about painful upgrades. Typical on-premise systems, when you go through an upgrade or you make an enhancement, you have very long release cycles because there's a lot of testing you need to do. There's a lot of activities. Generally, when you talk about the upgrading is a lot easier. It can be a couple clicks, but it's just generally a much faster process. Of course, with the cloud, you get another main benefit, which is the flexible subscription pricing. So it's a monthly fee that you pay depending on what resources you're consuming. So you're not getting that large upfront licensing expenditure when you purchase the license. You're just paying a constant monthly subscription fee. So that comes with no long-term commitment, and it's also very flexible, so you can pay only for the services that you need. You don't have to buy the whole package, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But finally, another benefit that we really see with the cloud is that it's fast and scalable. So fast, you don't have to install all that hardware on premise. So when you want to get a cloud account and you contact SAP, they can usually provision that to you very, very quickly. In fact, if you want to just get started with the HANA Cloud Platform and kind of try out some of the different things that it offers, you can even get a free trial account at any time. And then also it's scalable, right? So with the flexible pricing, you get to add on resources as you need them. So as your business grows and you need more capabilities, perhaps you just need more resources like memory or CPU, or perhaps you need additional services, you can easily add those onto your SAP Cloud Platform account. Okay, so I guess back to the title of our webinar, these are some of the main use cases that we see for the SAP Cloud Platform, which is integrate, extend, and build. So for integrate, we're talking about integrating technology and business processes into a single platform. So again, this could be SAP or non-SAP data. And when we talk about integration, it's both processes and data. So processes, think of workflow. For example, if you create an order in the CRM system, you want that order to flow through to your ERP system right away. So you need that real-time message-based communication. And then we also mean data integration. So for example, the common use case that we mentioned where you're bringing multiple data sources or multiple databases from different sources into a single platform, you want to be able to do that, perhaps in real time or perhaps in batch, whether, again, SAP or non-SAP. The HANA Cloud Platform gives you the ability to do that integration. And then we also talk about extending. So if you do run SAP, whether ERP or any of the cloud-based solutions like SuccessFactors or Cloud for Customer, the SAP Cloud Platform really is the best way that you can extend the functionality of those applications. So you can do this by building your own apps, or you can purchase one from the SAP App Store, which features thousands of applications developed by SAP partners. So just like you can purchase apps on your iPhone that you can use right away, you can also purchase apps on SAP App Store. And finally, if you don't run SAP, you can still build your own applications. And these are enterprise-level applications on the SAP Cloud Platform that leverage a lot of the same benefits and services of the SAP applications. So how does the SAP Cloud Platform fit into the big picture? This is a very busy slide, but I do like this graphic because it shows holistically how the SAP Cloud Platform can fit into existing landscapes. So again, I know it's a busy slide, but if we work our way clockwise here from the left, where it says S/4HANA, that would be your on-premise ERP system. And then you also have where you see the different cloud icons, these would be your cloud applications. So we see there we have an example of SuccessFactors, Concur, Ariba. And then on the right, that's where that's your analytics platform, which SAP likes to use Business Objects Cloud. So you can kind of see how the SAP HANA Cloud Platform really sits in the middle of all of those, and it integrates those different applications, and it also gives you a platform for building your own apps that leverage information from all of those different systems.
Olavo, it's RJ. Just a quick question on that, because I don't want to lose the point. Oftentimes I'm approached with questions about, SAP applications are for SAP customers, and how does this fit into, how does HANA Cloud Platform fit into my digital strategy, for example, if I'm not using SAP applications? And this diagram is very SAP-centric, but can you talk about maybe some use cases specific to non-SAP, or just provide some thoughts on that?
Sure, and thanks for the question, RJ. I'm actually very, very glad you brought that up. So we as an SAP services company, we do tend to focus on SAP, but it's very important to really drive home the point that you're right. So this is not just for SAP products. The HANA Cloud Platform doesn't just work with S/4HANA or Business Objects Cloud. If you look at the surrounding applications on the slide, you can replace really any of those with your non-SAP products. So perhaps instead of S/4HANA here on the left, maybe you run some other non-SAP ERP like Microsoft or Oracle. Perhaps you have different cloud applications like Salesforce that are non-SAP, and then you can still connect to those with the SAP Cloud Platform. And same thing goes for your analytics platform. You don't have to use Business Objects Cloud. The SAP Cloud Platform is really built to, with standard connectors and the ability to develop your own connectors so that you can really connect to any system, either whether that's SAP or non-SAP. Okay. So another concept that I feel that it's important to cover is called Bimodal Architecture. So when you move from, perhaps you have an ERP system where you do development directly on it, as we've seen with a lot of customers, what happens there is that, when you have all of that custom functionality kind of blended in with your standard business systems, it becomes very, very difficult to do enhancements and to do upgrades. Because you have to test all of that together, because you can't always see where your custom objects are connected to your standard system. You really, when you do any kind of enhancement, there's a lot of regression and integration testing that needs to be done. Now, with the SAP Cloud Platform, we're really pushing more of a bimodal architecture. So it's very beneficial to have that separated layer between your agile applications and your core business systems, and that's kind of what you can see here with this graphic. So on the outside or on the inside, you have your core business system. That would be either your ERP, again, SAP or non-SAP, and this is your system of record. It's reliable, it's stable, but it does require long release cycles when you make upgrades or any changes. Again, examples would be an ECC environment, S/4HANA, S/4HANA Cloud, or any other type of non-SAP ERP system. So, and then around that, where the SAP Cloud Platform fits in is that it gives you a separated agile layer to carry out your application development. So when you build applications on the SAP Cloud Platform, because you're not building them directly on your system of record, it's a lot easier to not only develop them, so you go from design to deployment a lot quicker with shorter release cycles, but you're also minimizing your risk to your core business process because you're really controlling the way that those two layers communicate. You're using standard APIs. So because you're not developing directly on your system of record, you can really do things a lot quicker and less risky. So you're accelerating your time of value while reducing your risk to your core business processes. Okay, so that was the first part of our presentation. We kind of just wanted to give an overview of the cloud technology as well as how the SAP Cloud Platform fits into that. For the remaining of the presentation, we're going to go into 3 specific use cases. The first one being we're going to talk about application development, and we'll follow that up with a quick, very non-technical demo of how you can quickly spin up an application on the SAP Cloud Platform. So this is personally my favorite aspect of the SAP Cloud Platform, which is application development. And I can speak this from experience because I did work as an ABAP developer for many years. And when I did switch to developing an SAP Cloud Platform, it was very transformative and exciting because you're developing using some of the more common languages like HTML5 and JavaScript, and because of that and all the different services that are available on the platform, there's really just so much more you can do with the SAP Cloud Platform as far as functionality and as far as the user interface than you could with a traditional or older development language like ABAP. So there is a bit of a learning curve, but the SAP Cloud Platform is a lot of development tools that really speed up the development cycle, which leads to much faster deployment. So between drag and drop tools, templates, and wizards, you can quickly spin up functional, rich-looking, and responsive applications that work on any device. So, and these applications can be developed in one of two ways. There is the web-based environment that comes with the SAP Cloud Platform, which is, again, 100% web-based, so you don't have to install anything locally. However, a lot of developers do prefer to have a local program on their desktop, and so you can also use the very popular Eclipse tool as your local development environment. So that the HANA Cloud Platform supports both of those options. And then there's three applications or 3 types of applications that you can develop on an SAP Cloud Platform. The first one is a simple HTML5 application. This is a very lightweight front-end web app. It's very easy to develop and deploy, but it still comes with that very rich Fiori-themed user interface. So if you think about, if you're familiar with the standard SAP Fiori apps, they would fall under this category. And then a step above that is you can also develop directly on the database. So you can do that by developing on HANA XS applications, which use server-side JavaScript, and they're developed directly on the HANA database. So they take advantage of all of the aspects of HANA, like in-memory computing. And so if you're looking to develop applications that interact very heavily with data, whether you're reading data or updating data or creating data, that is really the best way to do them because they're developed natively on the database. So they'll give you the best performance for those types of applications. And then finally, if you're looking to develop, very robust and powerful applications, the SAP Cloud Platform also comes with a Java container, which allows you to do so. So for our first demo, we're just going to give a very brief overview of how you can quickly spin up an application on the SAP Cloud Platform. This is the I guess, most technical part of the demo, but I promise you it'll be quick, and I'm going to do absolutely zero coding. The point here is not to really, teach anyone how to develop the apps. There are plenty of tutorials and other content on the internet for that. The point here is just to demonstrate how quickly we can spin up these applications. So this is what you're seeing here on the screen is the HANA Cloud Platform cockpit. This is kind of the landing page when you log into the HANA Cloud Platform. If we look here on the left, you can see that my data center is the U.S. East. So SAP has various data centers throughout the world. And when you sign up for the cloud platform, you can pick which one of these you want to be located in. And there are plans to add others. So up here on these tiles, you can kind of see the different, what they call sub-accounts that we have set up. So here at Dickinson and Associates, we went with the traditional two account setup where we have one for test and one for prod. Now, depending on how complex your landscape is, you can have as many accounts as you want. And the great thing about the SAP Cloud Platform is that you can distribute the resources that you have purchased between those accounts as you see fit. So obviously, you'd want your production account to have most of the resources, but you can still leave some for your test account to do your development and testing. So I'm going to go into our test account here, and this takes you to the main cockpit on the HANA Cloud Platform. So you can see there's a dashboard here where I can immediately see the statuses of all of my applications. We talked about the different types of applications you can develop, and you can see them here on the left, where you have Java, HTML5, and HANA XS. So, and if I go to the Services tab here, very similar to other cloud offerings, you can see that it will show me all of the available services that I have purchased. So, again, there's a lot of them here. They all deserve their own webinar, but the one that we do want to focus on, since we're doing application development, is using the SAP Web IDE. So this is, again, a web-based development environment where you can develop applications on the SAP Cloud Platform. And so this is what we'll be using for the next couple minutes as I demonstrate how we can very quickly create a new application. Now, the application that we want to create is very simple. We just want to give our users a way of tracking open sales orders. So it would be just a simple front end where they can kind of click through and view details on different sales orders that apply to them. So in order to create an application, I'm going to go to New and create a project from Template. You can see there's a lot of some different templates available. If I want to create a kind of a blank new web application, I can just do a simple SAP UI5. But we're going to do what's called a master detail template. If you look here on the right, you can almost sort of see what that would look like, and you'll see that in a couple minutes. But it's really a way for you to scroll through header items and then click on an item and see the details on the right side of the application. So it almost has two different views within the same page. So I'm going to click that as my template and hit Next. From my project name, I'll call this Sales Tracking App. And this is the second step. So this is where I choose where the source of that information is. For us particularly, we're going to source this from our ERP system, which happens to be SAP. But again, this can be a host of different sources. You can even point this to files or service URLs. But what we'll do is point this to a service that we've already configured on the HANA Cloud Platform. This DM1_HTTPS points to our on-premise ERP system. But again, it doesn't have to. Any data service will work. And here I see a list of all of the services that are available, which I can search. And if I type in tracking, I can see the service that I want to use for tracking sales orders. If I quickly open this, I can see the different entities that are available for me, like sales orders, order items, and contacts. So I'll go ahead and choose a service. and hit next. Now this is sort of the last step. This is where we do what's called data binding. So if you look here on the right, you can see that my template has all of these little numbers on there that indicate where these items here on the left will reside on my template. So for my title, I'll call this Olavo Tracking App. And then for the data binding, you see that I have an object and a line item. The object will dictate what's here on the left, and the line item will tell me what fields I'm displaying when I click on this and I see the details on the right. So I'll do sales orders for my header items, and I'll do customer as the text, and you'll see how this looks in a minute. For my attributes, I use the total amount and the currency. And then for my line item, I want to display the order item information. So I'll use that as my main key, and then use the item number as a collection ID. For the line item title, I will do my, let's see, yep, so we'll go with amount, and then for the numeric attribute, I'll do the price per unit, and then for the unit of measure, I'll do the currency. That seemed like a lot of steps, but again, if you didn't memorize all of that, that's okay. The point again is just to see how quickly we can spin this up, and you can see that the Web IDE already created my application for me. If I open my application, and if you're familiar with the structure of a web app, you can see that it's very similar. And if I want to make any modifications, whether to the interface or to any of the views, I can do so in these different files here. But we'll save that for another time. If I wanted to run my app, I can click on this button here to run it. And you can see this is what my app looks like. It's very similar to the template. On the left here, I have 3 different open sales orders, 2 for Chicago Manufacturing, which is a customer, and 1 for Dallas. I see here that what the total amount is for that sales order. And if I click on these orders, I can kind of see the detail on each of them. You can see there's some other parts of this template that we could have filled out, some of these titles to kind of personalize my tracking application. But again, the point here was really just to demonstrate how quickly you can spin this up. We can spend a lot of time trying to make this application look better, but the fact that we were able to put this up here so quickly is kind of indicative of the power of the Web IDE and the SAP Cloud Platform. Now, if I'm happy with my application, I'll just right-click here, and I'll deploy it to the SAP Cloud Platform. I'll stick with version 1.0, and I'll click Deploy. And what this is doing is that it's making that application and that URL available to any of the users that may have access to it. Now, if I go back to the HANA Cloud Platform cockpit, and I go to HTML5 applications, I can see that my sales tracking app is on my dashboard here. And if I click on it, I can monitor the status. I can see that it's up and running. So the URL is currently accessible. And I can also configure other things such as permissions and destinations and read some login data. So that was, again, that was a very quick demonstration. I know that we went through it kind of quickly, but the point was just to show you really how easy this is to do on the cloud platform, and not necessarily, teach what every little button means or the different content. There's a lot of tutorials and other video on the internet that shows exactly how to do all of those different templates of applications, but as you can see, they're very easy to do.
Olavo, a quick question as you go to user experience. Just how you showed a very simple app being developed, and those of us that worked in SAP for a long time, we're used to kind of the waterfall type projects, long projects, months, years, those types of things. Can you talk about, generally speaking, how long does it take to deploy an app, and are there any differences in methodology when we build these things out?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question. Obviously, it will depend on the application. If it's a simple HTML5 application like you just saw, we can spin that up in a matter of weeks. Now, if you're talking about a more robust application, that where you're integrating different sources and you're using a variety of different services available on SAP Cloud Platform, that may take a couple months. Again, it really depends on your requirements. But as a general rule of thumb, developing applications on the cloud platform is really a lot faster than doing it on-premise systems. That regardless of how complex the requirements are. Okay, so now we've kind of done an overview of the cloud platform, and we've kind of shown how easy it is to develop applications on it, and that's all great. But how does that translate to, like we talked about at the beginning, a better user experience? And for the SAP Cloud Platform specifically, there's a couple different tools that they make available that help you really enhance that user experience. So with SAP Fiori Cloud Edition, you do get all of the Fiori Launchpad capabilities that some of you may be familiar with. So you can combine applications that that are used to run SAP Business Suite with applications that you just developed, all in the one Launchpad. It also comes with the SAP Cloud Portal. What this is a tool that really allows you to develop enterprise-grade business websites. These are websites that are, they can be available to your internal employees, to your customers or your suppliers, or even to the public. And with these sites, you can combine, custom apps, standard Fiori apps, or other third-party content into kind of one integrated experience. And then built on the cloud platform, you also have something called SAP Build, which is a rapid prototyping tool, which we'll quickly go through in a couple of minutes here. But before we do so, I kind of, why do we have to do that, right? Why do we care about, the user experience? So, really, if you look at the past 5 to 10 years, the experience that users have with personal applications has improved dramatically. When you talk about Facebook, Amazon, Google, frankly, those types of applications have really raised the bar when it comes to the experience that users expect when interacting with these apps. And what we hear this at customer site is that people are starting to have that same expectation when they come to work. They use all these awesome applications, and then they come to work and they use these other apps that look like they're from the 80s. So the bar really has been raised higher when it comes to the apps that we use at work. So, and the mentality has really shifted. So, as an application developer, right, in the old world, and we can all picture our IT guy saying this is, if they develop an application and the users have trouble with the application, it's the user's fault, right? It's always the user error. We just can't get away with that anymore, and the game has completely changed. So, as a developer, when I develop applications and if the user has trouble using my application, maybe I should make it more intuitive and user-friendly. Because at the end of the day, if users can't use applications, regardless of whose fault it is, we all lose. If users can't use my app, maybe that's a potential sale that I lost. Or if it's a warehouse application, maybe if the user can't figure it out, they may ship the wrong product. So, it's important to keep in mind that when designing applications, we want to avoid these costly mistakes, because although they can be hard to quantify, there's definitely a cost to that bad design, which is why we always push for agile development. And what that means is that as part of that, we try to bring the user early into the design process to gather that feedback. The last thing we want to do is gather requirements, develop applications for 2 months, just to kind of come back and have the user see it and realize that it's not what they're looking for. So one of the great ways to do that is to use a rapid prototyping tool like SAP Build, which we'll show you now as part of our second demonstration. So this is the landing page for SAP Build, and this is a great prototyping tool that's meant to be used as part of the design process. And it's a very good way to get user feedback, like we said, early in that design process. So this tool does not require any programming, but it does allow us to quickly spin up a prototype using, drag and drop tools. Again, this is not meant to be a fully functional application. It's just a way for developers and users to collaborate. Now, I certainly won't do this tool any justice in the next 5 minutes, but I think it's important to kind of get an overview of how as part of the rapid prototyping design that we always push. So here you can kind of get a general overview of our project. Now, this prototype specifically that we're showing is what we call a generic dealer portal. It's a portal where if you have dealers that sell your products for you, they can log in here, and they can put in new orders, or they can look up products. They can look up pricing information. So if I go into and these are here in the front is where you see the different the flow of my application. So I'll go into the launch page here. Now it takes a little longer to load, but you'll see quickly why. There's really a lot we can do here from a graphics perspective. You can see this is a landing page for a dealer portal, where our dealers can do they can inquire new products, they can check their emails, they can look at previous orders, and to show you how easy this is, if I want to add a screen element here, all I have to do is grab it here from the left and add it here to the right. And I can add, different functionalities to this button. For example, I can have it go to another page on my prototype. So, imagine sitting in a room with the developers and users going through this tool. It's a very quick way to kind of understand and get the requirements from the users that they're expecting out of the application. Because when you can visualize it and you can see it, it makes gathering those requirements a lot easier. A couple of other different things that you can do with this tool is that you can create a study, so that will allow you to track how the users are using your application, so you can identify, perhaps there are certain elements that haven't been placed on the screen correctly. There may be other ways that I need to enhance this application. And of course, you can publish your prototype. So when you click on publish, it gives you a URL that you can copy, and you can you can send that out to whoever you want to get feedback from for the application. So again, we could do a webinar just on SAP Build, but in order to be conscious of time, we'll move on. But if there are any questions regarding how to use this tool, we can take those at the end of this webinar. Okay, so we've done an overview of the SAP Cloud Platform, and we kind of talked about application development and how that really enhances the user experience with some of the tools that are available on the Cloud Platform. And then for this last part of our presentation, what we're going to do is just kind of quickly go through some of the other services that are available with the Cloud Platform, and then at the end, we'll give a short demonstration of what an application that uses a lot of those services looks like. So we're moving away from the simple HTML5 applications into a much more robust application that we call Ship Select, which we have developed in-house, that really demonstrates how all those different services of the platform can work together. So just to quickly go through some of the other services that are available on the Cloud Platform, one of the bigger ones we talk about is integration. Let's get the slide there. And again, when we talk about integration, we're talking about processes and data. This can be SAP or non-SAP data, and it can be real-time or batch integration. So this is really the service you use if you want integrate to different sources, whether they're on the cloud or on-premise. And the SAP Cloud Platform comes with a lot of pre-built integration content that allows you to connect to those different systems very easily. Two other things that come as part of the integration package of the Cloud Platform is the HANA Cloud Connector, which allows you to very securely connect to on-premise systems, and you connect those systems to your cloud application. And it also comes with API management. So if you develop APIs that you want to publish so that you can integrate your internal systems to the outside world. You can use API management to really track and monitor the traffic and how people are using your APIs. Another important service is, of course, the data and storage. And the big one we're talking about here is the SAP HANA database. I'm sure most of you have heard of the power of the SAP HANA database. It's truly a state-of-the-art Tier 1 database. You're taking advantage of in-memory columnar storage, and you can really use this database to run real-time analytics and applications. That same database is also available on the cloud. So when you purchase the SAP Cloud Platform, depending on what package you purchase, you're going to get a HANA database of a certain size. And that, of course, comes with things like geospatial analytics, predictive analysis, and text search and analysis. We talked about analytics. With the cloud platform, you also get access. You can purchase Business Objects Cloud, and this is a software as a service that's also built on the SAP Cloud Platform. But it's important to notice it is source agnostic, so it does support many data sources, and it stands on its own. And it's a very good tool for ad hoc reporting, which we can certainly talk more about. And it does deserve its own webinar. And in fact, we are doing its own webinar on February 28th. So stay tuned for that. And finally, some of the other additional services you may have heard about the SAP Cloud Platform. It does come with mobile capabilities. So when you develop apps on the SAP Cloud Platform, all of those apps can be accessed on a mobile device. However, if you do want to develop applications that sit natively on those devices, so iOS, Android, and Windows, you can do that. And the cloud platform comes with all the services that enable those applications, like offline use or push notifications. In fact, in May of last year, SAP and Apple announced a partnership that will make it a lot easier for you to develop iOS apps using an SDK that was built specifically for SAP applications. Now, with the cloud platform, you also get an Internet of Things service, so it allows you to quickly connect to different devices, such as sensors and machines, and then you can take that data and really analyze it and monitor your devices. You can even run things like predictive maintenance on your devices using this service. And last but certainly not least, the cloud platform comes with a lot of different security services. So it's a centralized location for you to manage your accounts across applications, and then it gives you a single sign-on capability as well, so you're not having to sign on multiple times throughout the day as you're using different applications. Okay, and then for our last demo, with the amount of time that we have left, we just kind of wanted to show you how all of this fits in together into a single robust application developed on the SAP Cloud Platform. And the application that we have developed is called Ship Select. Ship Select is an app that lets you ship packages with multiple carriers from a single interface. So I will bring that up now. Again, this is an application that was developed on the SAP Cloud Platform, so you can see the design features follow that Fiori themed that we may be familiar with, including this landing page here, which is where you can see the different tiles of the different functions of the application. So to quickly go through this, I'll go to shipments, and imagine that I'm in a distribution center and I'm using this application to ship a package. The first thing that I will do is I'll scan the package ID, which in SAP would be a handling unit, but depending on what system you're using, this could be another input. And you can see that by scanning that handling unit, I quickly retrieve all that information from my underlying ERP system. So all of this package data that you see here, such as the dimensions, the weight, and the value, along with my delivery information for example, this is my ship to address. All of this is being pulled into the cloud through the integration services of the SAP Cloud Platform. Now, This application does integrate with APIs as well. It's external websites. So if I'm ready to ship this application, but I don't know what service I want to use, I can hit this Shop Rates button here. And what this is doing is it's calling an API to multiple carriers, in this case FedEx and UPS, and getting all of the rates for those carriers. And I can see here that FedEx Ground is my cheapest one, so I'll go with that. And if I'm ready to ship my package, I can hit the Ship button here. And again, it's sending all that information to FedEx, and FedEx is in turn returning my shipping label. So if I go back to my application, I can see that I now have my tracking number along with my charges. So again, this use case may not be relevant for every business, but it does give you an idea of how all the different services and the capabilities of a true software as a service application can function in an SAP Cloud Platform.
Olavo, let me just interject real quick. I know to everyone that's still on that we're going over by just a few minutes. We're going to go ahead and finish this up in the next few minutes. If you're able to stay on, that's fantastic. If you have to drop off, just keep your eye out. Within the next day, we're going to email out the link to this webinar in its entirety on YouTube. Okay? Carry on, Olavo.
Thanks, Spencer. I think that again, I probably went through that a little quicker than I should have, but I think that gives a pretty good idea of how an application built on the SAP Cloud Platform, which you can purchase through the SAP App Store, how that type of application integrates all of the different services that are available on the platform. And you can purchase this app or any other app like this, again, like we said, in the SAP App Center. So just like you can add applications to your iPhone, you can also add applications to your SAP Cloud Platform tenant. And these are apps that are developed by various SAP partners. Anna,
okay.
Spencer, I think that's it.
Yeah, okay. So understanding we are going over by just a couple minutes, we'll still go ahead and address some of the questions here, and then anything we don't get to, we will follow up with you directly and address one-on-one. So first question, you had mentioned flexible subscription pricing, but can you provide more detail on what pricing looks like, if it varies by size of organization or how that actually works?
Sure. So the HANA Cloud Platform, or the SAP Cloud Platform, it comes with different pricing structures. So if you're more in the smaller to medium enterprise level, you can buy packages that really are charged based on users. So the more users that you have using those applications, the more you'll pay as a fee there. But if you're more on the larger enterprise level, you can purchase packages based on your resource consumption. So if you're, the more data you use or the more memory you need, the more services you have, you'll pay based on that. So and this is one of the great things about, not only the SAP Cloud Platform, but most cloud technologies, that pricing is very flexible and scalable. So it's not, it's not the same price for everybody. So, the smaller companies and the larger enterprises, they can both use the services of the platform because there's packages that are tailored to them with different prices. So you're not leaving anybody out of this technology. And as Dickinson Associates specifically, we are a certified reseller of the HANA Cloud Platform. So in addition to that, so not only can we sell, we're also licensed to build applications on the SAP Cloud Platform as well as service any applications that are built on the platform as well.
Great. The next question, someone is asking if they can, a couple questions actually, if they can get a trial account, and if so, what limits that might include?
Sure. So there is a free trial account that you can get by going to the SAP HANA Cloud Platform website. This trial account, you can get that spun up in a matter of minutes, and it's a very good tool for you to kind of just go in there and see what all the different services that are available with the platform. It doesn't, there are some limits to it, but most of the services are available. It's just you can't, you're not going to be able to develop, very large applications or use a lot of memory. But It's generally a very good way of kind of trying these new services out. I would recommend anybody that's interested in going and purchasing a tenant of the SAP Cloud Platform, go and get a trial account. It's very easy, and you'll get a very good idea of some of the services and capabilities that are available.
That's great. Okay, so the last question we'll cover here is, how would you recommend getting my developers up to speed on this technology?
Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of the programming languages that are used for on the cloud platform are more of the commonly available development languages like HTML5, JavaScript, Java. So, if you have developers that know that, because these languages are more available, it actually makes it a lot easier to onboard developers because more people know those languages. If you're a traditional SAP shop and you have ABAP developers, and they want to develop on the SAP Cloud Platform, again, there's a little bit of a learning curve there. I went through that myself personally, and I thought I found it was very rewarding to, once you learn those new languages and once you're past that learning curve, you really it's very exciting because you get to use a lot more functionality. And the way I kind of went through that, and what I would recommend to any developer that wants to get up to speed with the SAP Cloud Platform, there's a variety of free tutorials that SAP provides on the internet. You can certainly take any of those. So a lot of those courses are available for free. And of course, you can always contact Dickinson Associates, and we can kind of walk through what the best strategy is for getting your developers up to speed on some of these newer development technologies.
Great. Thank you, Olavo and RJ, and thank you to all who were able to attend. For the additional questions we did not get to, we'll follow up directly to provide you those answers. And we hope you all enjoyed this webinar, and thank you, guys.